Patrick Mahomes, how many touchdown passes do you call him having in 2020?
Woo.
Hit me
Well, look at the floor for this guy.
Are we going to have a season? And I know we're trending in the right direction right now. You've got to be dialed in more than most people on this topic. Do you feel there is a risk for at least a delay or a shortening of the season? And how confident are you that we'll even have a season?
I think any prediction that you hear right now is not coming from a place of real knowledge.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty.
Scott Hanson.
Take a lap.
Smitty.
Scott Hanson.
What's up?
Damn excited to have you on, man. The NFL RedZone, you guys are replaying every single Sunday. All of the games from every Sunday in 17 straight days, correct?
So today is week 5.
Week 5.
Basically what happened was, obviously with coronavirus shutting everything down, everyone's gone to recorded programming. So everyone's hitting me up, let's see RedZone, let's see RedZone replays, we need something to watch. So the NFL, I think very smartly, decided to do it this way. They said, well, we've got the NFL draft coming up. What if we back-timed 17 days prior to the draft and show 1 week of the regular season every day for 17 straight days? And so that's what we're doing right now. Today is week 5. We've got Houston Texans scored over 50 points on this week. You had Deshaun Watson throwing 5 touchdowns, 3 of them caught by Will Fuller. This was also the week, this was the Green Bay-Dallas game in the late window when Aaron Jones went off for 4 touchdowns. It was a heck of a fantasy football week and a heck of a reality football week. So if you got NFL RedZone during the regular season and you still are subscribed to your sports package, flip over to the channel that has NFL RedZone, and you're going to be able to relive the season for 17 straight days.
Take a lap.
Patrick Mahomes, how many touchdown passes do you call him having in 2020? Hit me
well, look at the floor for this guy is in the 30s, right? That's the floor for him. I didn't think he was going to have the Boffo season coming off the MVP year, just because nobody in history that's gone for 50 or more has ever had a season in the 40s or high 40s immediately after that. So I figured he would come back to earth a little bit, but I think this upcoming season, give me, let's say he has a massive year, because I don't think he's going to get complacent after winning the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Give me 42 touchdowns.
Okay.
Give me 42 touchdowns.
And if he rushes, maybe 45 total.
Rushing touchdowns added to it? Yeah, let's say 45 total.
Okay, I like it.
With three or four more.
Lamar Jackson ran 176 times in 2019. How many times does he run the football in 2020?
I think 2020 is easier to predict. I think he could have a similar amount of rushes, quite frankly. I think if you ask me about 2024 for Lamar Jackson, I am not that optimistic. There have been amazing running quarterbacks, and he had a season better than any of them, better than Vic, Randall Cunningham, Steve Young, Fran Tarkenton. You name a mobile quarterback. It was the best running season empirically and just statistically and empirically through just witnessing it. But I don't think it's sustainable for 4, 5, 6 years deep. I think this upcoming season, Lamar will be lethal again. I think he could have the same rushing totals and maybe even the same amount of rushing yards, because people have not figured him out yet. But I don't think it's sustainable 4 or 5 years from now.
I love it, and I agree with you. I do think that Mike Vick proved that you cannot sustain that kind of rushing. You get hurt, but for 1 or 2 years, man, I'm going to enjoy the ride. I'm going to give you 2 massively bold predictions. Remember me on the show if this happens. Kenyan Drake, top 5 running back.
Woo.
A.J. Brown, top 5 wide receiver in fantasy in 2020. What are your thoughts on those guys climbing?
Okay, Kenyan Drake, that's a bold prediction. Top 5 running back. PPR scoring, top 5 running back.
Yeah.
That's a bold prediction. A.J. Brown, I think he showed out. But I would ask you this. I think I know what your answer is because you just said A.J. Brown, but better stat line at the end of the year, PPR scoring.
Uh-huh.
A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf.
This sophomore wide receiver class, as good as the rookies are coming in, I like the sophomore class as good, if not better. I think that these guys are going to carry fantasy for a decade. I'm going to go A.J. Brown, but they could both be, if you go cheap at wide receiver and build running back, quarterback, or running back, quarterback, you go Mahomes. That's their strategy to take. You get DK, you get A.J. Brown, you get Chark. You get these guys on your roster, and that's going to be a tough. Give me one bold prediction. Maybe it was DK.
Yeah, no, DK is my guy, and I hate to even say this. I hope my competitors, I hope to be able to get DK where I think he'll be, because he's not going to be a first or second round guy, but I think 2 drafts from now, he's going to be a first or second round guy. And that's based on 2 things. One, the physical ability. We all knew about that. But a few things. One, the physical ability, which you already knew about. 2, the fact that he's a little bit better of a route runner than people gave him credit for. 3, his hands ended up being better than people gave him credit for coming out of the end of the draft. And 4, he's got one of the best quarterbacks in football that will find him.
Yeah.
And Russell will find a way to make plays with him. So I like DK Metcalf to be drafted in. He'll be in that rounds 4 to 6 range, but I think next year, and not this upcoming fantasy draft, next year's draft, I would predict he'll be a first or second round talent.
I'm gonna say the same thing about A.J. Brown and Drake.
Yeah.
Okay, last question, then we'll pump the red zone real quick.
Take a left.
I asked this question of Matthew Berry. I asked this question of the fantasy footballers, Mike Wright. I want to get your take. Christian McCaffrey and Barkley, and no picks until round 7, or would you rather have the 1.07 as normal?
That's a great hypothetical. PPR league. Oh, that'd be so tempting, because I think you can find a transformative quarterback in round 7 or later. Lamar Jackson was drafted in what round in people's drafts, right?
Right.
And you can always find wide receivers too. Like, if it was like a secondary league, I would say, let's just roll the dice. Give me the 2 horse backs, and I'll start my draft in round 7.
It's my favorite draft strategy, and in auction, you can make it happen every time, because neither one of them are going to go above $80-$90. So I love the approach. It's my favorite. And you, Matthew Berry, and Mike Wright from the Fantasy Footballers all said they'd take that gamble and roll that dice. So that's my favorite approach.
I like it.
Yeah.
Take a left.
A lot of people ask me this, and I'm curious myself. Will you ever be able to buy this a la carte from NFL Network on a grand scale? Because there's a lot of people that are like, damn, I want to have the red zone. They can't change because of family members are hooked on certain programming or whatever. I think it would kill it. I think everybody would buy it.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, there are a whole lot of people on a higher pay grade than you and I to be able to make those decisions. And here's why. The NFL has so many broadcast partners. Keep in mind, NFL RedZone is its own show, but we are using the Fox and CBS broadcasts. They are our broadcast partners. And there are complex contracts that were negotiated and hammered out legalese to be able to say, well, here's how the show will run, here's how it'll be distributed. And while we haven't got to a point of complete a la carte, hey, I just want to spend $10 a month or whatever they would say to get it on, streaming on a computer, a device, your TV or whatever, it wouldn't be a shock to see that happen someday. Yeah. But I'm just the humble host. I don't get to make those executive decisions. Well,
it's worth every penny. Even if you're ordering it during football season and just getting it's the best way to watch football. It's like a drug. Once you get your football delivered the way the NFL RedZone and you deliver it, it's like you can't go back. So I bet your retention is unbelievable compared to other products.
Well, in terms of pardon me, there's a siren going on outside.
No problem.
I hope everyone's okay. Can you hear that?
Yeah, that's fine. It's
Sorry
quiet.
about that. That just proves we are doing this from our homes right now.
Yeah.
You look like you're actually in the studio.
Home studio.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is that's my kitchen right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think once people try it, they tell me they won't go back to just watching regular football. Now let me amend that. If the Green Bay Packers are your favorite team, I get it. You're going to watch every snap of every Packers game. But if the Packers are your favorite team, I can almost guarantee that your second favorite team is your fantasy football team.
Yep.
And you can't watch one game to see your fantasy football team. You want to watch all of them.
Right.
NFL RedZone's the way to do it.
Oh.
It's the most action-packed sports show, I would say, not even football show, sports show that there is. So once people try it, they don't want to go back.
Have you considered having more of a fantasy angle to it, or updates during like slow breaks, like having a fantasy guest on, or talking about, hey, AJ Brown is about to unleash on, fantasy worlds? Like, is there's such a big fantasy following in your viewership? It's like, I know it would be welcome to have a touch more of the predicting, not just the, hey, here's what's happening, but here's what I think. Or do you leave that out of it?
Yeah, what we have done, and maybe you know this from your viewership, is I wasn't a part of it, but they would run a fantasy football show leading into NFL RedZone for a while. I'm not sure if they did it this last year or not, but we would do predictive. And, of course, NFL Network has NFL Fantasy Live Monday through Friday, all throughout the regular season, trying to give analytics and predictions and little tips and sleepers week to week. They do Michael Fabiano and the guys do an awesome job at that. The difficulty with NFL RedZone is, man, we are going 100 miles an hour. I know. We're like Indiana Jones running across the suspension bridge that is collapsing behind him. If we stop and do anything else other than what we're doing, we're cooked. So I don't know if there'd be another room for another voice, a fantasy voice or something like that. I certainly will bring it up. Like when Aaron Jones went off for 4 touchdowns, he ended up having a great year, but that was an anomaly for him to burst like that. Right. Like we were talking about it, that this guy is winning your fantasy week almost by himself.
Take a left.
How hard is it for you to, like, when you first did it, your first day, and you're amazing at it, but I have noticed a progression with you. Like you've become like so phenomenal at being able to go from one place to another without any kind of hiccup or bump in the road. How did you ever experience like oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, sensory overload? And how quickly did it take you to get adapted to the speed of what you've got to do? People don't even realize how hard it is. When I do a live stream, I'm drafting, mock drafting, there's a lot going on. People don't get from behind the scenes how complicated it is.
Yeah. I would say this. There was a time when I was like, oh, man, like I think I can do this, but I don't know if I can do the demands of it. It was during my audition to become the NFL RedZone host. So basically, I had heard that they were starting up NFL RedZone, heard about the concept. It was the summer before our first season. And I called up the talent director at NFL Network, and I was already an NFL reporter at the time. And I said, hey, is it true you guys are starting, NFL RedZone? Yeah. I said, who you got to host it? He's like, well, we're looking at some people. I said, is my name on the list? He said, yeah. So we did an audition. Now, to give you an idea, a television audition traditionally is 10, 15 minutes long. Mm-hmm. They put you up on set, put your microphone on. They want to see how you look and how you sound. And if you can talk with, if you're doing like the weekend sports cast, can you talk to the news anchor and make some sense? Like that's all they want to see, 10 minutes. NFL RedZone, because it's, like you said, sensory overload, they want to see, can you juggle and how long what's your stamina in juggling 7, 8, 9 games? So when I was doing this, we did a 5-hour audition. Again, 10 minutes is normal. 5 hours. I flop sweated through my suit. I thought I have no idea if I'm doing this well or not. And I mean, I love football and I know football. And I was like, I have no idea if this is. By the way they did it was they took 9 videotape players, if you will, queued up, because we were doing this in June. They queued up 9 different games from the season before and hit play at the same time on 9 machines and said, talk. and yeah, I wondered. I was like, oh, boy. But now, hopefully, after 11 years, the muscles have been developed where we sound pretty good at all our segues and traffic control and stuff like that.
I can't believe it's been so long that the Red Zone's been on. It's crazy how time's flown.
11 years, man. Yeah.
Take a left.
Are we going to have a season? And I know we're trending in the right direction right now. You've got to be dialed in more than most people on this topic. Do you feel there is a risk for at least a delay or a shortening of the season? And how confident are you that we'll even have a season?
I think any prediction that you hear right now is not coming from a place of real knowledge. I've heard every prediction that you can have, but yeah, we're going to have training camp starting right on time. And I've heard, you know what, the NFL season is not going to happen. We have to listen to the medical professionals, and we also have to discern where the medical professionals are coming from in making their statement. It might be easy for someone to say, well, you know what, the safest thing to do, because this thing is super contagious and deadly to 3% of the population or whatever, is just to everyone stay home. Well, okay, but are we going to do that for the rest of our lives? Because if we don't find a vaccine or a cure for it, it'll come back in another form, and we have to decide, are we going to shut down society forever? So I think there's two things. One, what do we learn about the virus in the next weeks and months ahead? And two, what is society's appetite for basically being on lockdown across the country? If we want to have life like this going forward, which I don't think a lot of people do, almost nobody does, we're doing it for safety's sake right now, but what will our tolerance level be for that months on? And especially if coronavirus takes away from us one of the things that we enjoy most in life as Americans, and that's NFL football. So I honestly, Smitty, I can't make a prediction one way or another. I'm a positive guy. I'm a hopeful guy. So if I had to say right now, I would say, yeah, I think we find a way week one to play NFL football.
Well, if we play without fans to be precautionary the first 4 or 5 weeks or whatever, people are going to be leaning on the Red Zone, I'll tell you that. And you'll still be doing your thing.
Take a left.
Red Zone replays every single day. We're in week 5. Week 5
is today, yep.
And you guys need to go check out the Red Zone if you have not. It is the best way to watch football. I will not go back. It is the only way, and you do an amazing job, Scott Hanson. Everybody loves you. I think I saw an interview or an article where you said that the feedback you get is astronomically high. You know, there's always negative feedback in any business or line of business you do, but people can't complain about what you do. So you're the Swami of our generation.
Well, I'll do a Swami bow then and say thank you for that, Smitty. Good to be with you. Keep up the great work here on the podcast, man. Enjoyed it.
All right. Have a good one. Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty.
Scott Hanson.